I think they're improving. I think Coach Shep's doing a great job. I like the depth there, and I like the competition. There's obviously an influx of young players in the room, and there's some veterans that have really grasped the offense, the techniques, the fundamentals, the scheme, and you obviously see the explosiveness and the speed in the room. And so it's ongoing. Coach Shep's done a great job of rotating those guys, and we're going to need them all. And I think this season more than any before, with the length of the season, you're going to need depth and competition at all positions, and certainly that's been one because there's a lot of really good players, and they're working hard to try to separate themselves.
What about the competition in tackle, both tackles?
Ongoing. I mean, today was the first day that we put pads on, and so we'll go back and watch the film. But those guys are doing a good job. Coach Cap's done a great job of developing them, since spring until now, and so. Just like all positions, we got a long way to go, but I've seen a lot of good play out of that room in particular, the first few days. But like I said, we just put pads on today for the first time, and so we'll go back and take a look at the film and see what it looked like. Well, I think CJ and Robbie, just with their experience and their time here, certainly from a leadership standpoint, and kind of similarly to the wide receiver room, there's good players in that room, and they're competing their tail off. And every place that we've been, you need 4 players that can contribute and play in the game. How many snaps, what that looks like, will be determined. But I feel good about that room, and Coach Ellis has done a great job of just building the chemistry, the camaraderie in the room. I think they support one another, and we're going to need them all. Well, I certainly see progression. There's no doubt. And so, I appreciate the question. We're just trying to be a little bit better today than we were yesterday. And so as far as the amount of growth, you see it in practice and you see it in the execution, and yet you're coaching and correcting and critiquing each and every day at all positions. And they've been super receptive to that. And so, yeah, we're pleased with that room, but we also know there's a lot more for us to improve on and get better at. Yeah, I think, in today's football, you can't, you have to have multiple backs to be able to play. There's a lot of things that we ask those guys to do. Certainly running physically between the tackles and also perimeter runs and the explosiveness in that regard, but blitz pickup, pass protection, route running. And so both of those guys, had a great spring and certainly to this point have had a nice camp, but like I said, we're 3 days in. And so there's a lot for us to improve on. There's still installation that's going on each and every day. But yeah, Jam and Justice are great kids and really good players and have done a nice job.
When you have a freshman who enrolls in the summer like Ryan does, what are the check marks and check points you're looking at when you're watching practice and things you're looking at?
Well, I give Ryan a ton of credit, and I give his coaches a lot of credit. What Coach Shep and TG and some of the young coaches have poured into him over the summer months, and the amount of work that Ryan has put in. And I think the hardest thing for a young freshman wide receiver is just getting lined up properly, and that has never been an issue for him. He has been on it as far as, recognition of communication, whether it be signals or in a huddle or whatever it may be, lining up properly, all the varieties of formations and motions and shifts that we do. That's probably the first hurdle for anybody, is just to get lined up properly. We usually don't have quite as much of a problem with the left guard. They usually know where to go. Okay. But, the receivers, the tight ends, the running backs, making sure that they're lined up and they know their splits and they know the spacing of the play. That's always the biggest challenge. And he's been fantastic that way. And once, for any wide receiver, once you can, get lined up and you know where you're going, that's when your skills and abilities and technique and explosiveness, that's explosiveness. That's really when it shows up. And that's probably the first thing. You just make sure they know how to line up and what to do.
Because Caleb was in here in the spring, do you see that kind of fast forward in terms of development?
Talking about Caleb Odom?
Yeah.
Yes. Certainly. Yeah, I think certainly the time that he's had to learn the offense has helped him. It's just more time on task. And so you'd have to ask Caleb, but certainly from our perspective, he's even more comfortable with his assignment and alignment and what he's supposed to do each and every play.
When you look at that body type, because it is sort of unique, his height, do you try to find unique ways, even though he's a young guy, to kind of fit him in the offense?
I think so. I think we're evaluating all the players on the team, on offense and how we want to utilize them and what those specific packages and situations look like. I wouldn't say on practice 3 that we're quite there yet. We have, install that needs to take place so that the guys can learn, our offense and continue to learn it, even though that, we've obviously installed it in the spring and in the summer. And so when we get closer to game week, that's when you start to carve out roles for guys and specific plays. You can't just, only do one thing with one player. Every time you throw him in the game, it's going to be this or that. You have to make sure that they have a bigger role than just one specific thing. But we try to play as many players that are deserving of playing, and that can help us win. As far as with Caleb or what's?
No, as far as like getting people in different roles, but how does their versatility allow you to kind of mix and match in the way?
Yeah, I think there's a couple positions in football, usually running back and wide receiver, and I refer to them as positionless players. That you don't know where they're going to line up, and that always makes it a challenge. And we've always done that in our offense to try to move people around, and so that's how you can create leverage and create mismatches. And it's important that those guys are able to do both, though, right? That they can carry the football and do some things that way, or detach and run routes, whether it be a running back or a wide receiver. And so the more you do well as a position group or as an individual player or as a unit, I think the more you do well, the harder you are to defend. That certainly would be the case for those two guys.
This is kind of off topic. What kind of offensive mind does Coach DeBoer have? His track record is pretty darn good.
Fantastic. As good as I've ever been around. And I've been very lucky to have been around some great coaches. I grew up the son of a coach, and so I've been exposed to excellent teachers and great minds. But I would put Coach DeBoer's up against anybody that I know. And that's just a compliment to him. And like I said, I have tremendous respect for the coaches that I played for, that I've worked for. But Coach DeBoer is a brilliant offensive mind. He's a phenomenal football coach in all areas.
To follow up on Ryan, just those skills and abilities you mentioned, you can start to see. What has been for him so far?
Well, he's very explosive and he tracks the ball really well. I think those are the two things that kind of stand out. I know a real big surprise answer there. He's a very explosive player. He tracks the ball really well, and he's mature. He's a mature competitor for a young player. A lot of work to do. He has, things that he's working on each and every day and that Coach Shep is pouring into him. But certainly for a young player, I think the maturity stands out, but very explosive and very good ball skills.
Do you have to kind of check yourself and remind yourself that this guy should still be in high school right now, and to kind of pump the brakes a little bit on all of this, I guess?
Well, I don't know. We don't think about it too much, and he's acclimated himself, great with the team. I think his teammates respect him because of how hard he works. I think that's how you earn the trust of your teammates by working really hard. And so, no, I wouldn't say we spend too much time, thinking about it until you asked me about it. But he's hopped right in there and he's competed at a high level.
Coach, you mentioned getting these guys chemistry-wise established pretty early in camp, but as a staff, how are you guys attacking each day? What are the Coach DeBoer with other position groups as well?
Just as far as a staff, like what? Yeah, I mean, the communication has been fantastic. I think the collaboration is outstanding. We have a tremendous staff, both sides of the ball. And we're constantly thinking about how we can help our team get better. And so the collaboration, both offensively and defensively, obviously under the leadership and direction of Coach DeBoer, I think has been fantastic. And then certainly, specifically to the offensive side of the ball, that's what we're up here all day doing, is communicating with one another and making sure we're doing the very best we can for the players.
A couple more
competition like, between the offense and defense, you against Kane Womack and getting the best of both sides of the ball?
Kane didn't make a tackle today, and I didn't throw a pass. You know, so this game's certainly about the players. And so I think there's obviously an understanding in certain periods where we are competing to make each other better. You know, I think that's the importance, is that, you know, we are competing as hard as we possibly can, and we want to win every single snap, every day, in every drill. But we also know that we're trying to make each other better, you know, and I think that's what great teams do. And so it's collaborative, you know. There's communication about the schemes and the install that's going in between the offense and the defense, and because we're out there to help each other get better, you know, and that's really what we focus on. And I think the relationships that are built for years on our staff helps with that, you know, because we know we just want what's best for our team and our players.
One last question. What have you seen on the offensive line at this point? The area they struggled in last year was basketball. Have you seen improvement so far in that area?
Certainly, yeah. And you know, I know people asked earlier about, you know, different players on the offensive line, but we had first day of pads today, you know, and so we're getting better every day. You know, I thought we took a step forward today. I think we've improved each and every day, and certainly that room has a lot of pride. Coach Cap has done a great job of just building the chemistry in that room and the brotherhood. And we got a long way to go. You know, we're 3 days in, and there's a lot of work to be done still, but I'm excited about the group. Roll Tide. Thanks.